All right, so Nine Inch Nails had this new EP called Add Violence.
Yeah, came out earlier this year.
Yeah, which is the best reaction to any scenario. Just go ahead and add the violence. And it's the second of a trilogy of EPs.
Second?
Second of a trilogy of EPs he's planning on making. So let's get right into the first one, which is Less Than.
Yeah, this is the first single, or only single, off this album?
No, there were two. Less Than was the first single, and then Not Anymore. This Isn't the Place was the second single.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I believe they both had music videos also.
Interesting.
So, Less Than.
It starts out with this 80s techno.
It's really dancey. Like when we were listening to it, we were both just kind of grooving to it. And I said it sounds like it's from an 80s PSA, and then someone's about to tell me, like, you know, make sure you get out and exercise every day. Helps computer.
I can see that.
No, and I commented that this song sounds very, very similar to, and that might just be because it's Nine Inch Nails.
Then you bite
the hand
that feeds.
That feeds, which was...
It layers over it just about perfectly.
It's very well matching. And this is the only song, one of the only songs in the album where I could distinctly tell that there was a guitar playing.
Yeah. I think this is the only one where guitars are present. It also is one of the more normally structured songs.
Yeah,
this is the most digestible song,
well,
easily.
The reason this is the first single off this EP is because it's the most standard Nine Inch Nails, I would say. Mm-hmm. It's the most, like I said, digestible, acceptable, and it only gets a little bit weirder from there. The song does get pretty, like, guitar, like, intense at about 2 minutes in, but then it switches and, like, when it goes, and this big problem with this whole EP, is when it goes from chorus with lots of energy to verse, it completely, like, cuts it off. Like, no reverb or anything, no carryover. It's just gone. Now it's soft again. Mm-hmm. And then there's this, like, weird synthy, solo-y, ambient, floaty bit.
Yeah, I was saying that, like, bridge interlude section, I said that it was meaningless.
Yeah,
like it wasn't really a solo, it wasn't really a bridge, there's just kind of nothing, it was just kind of just sounds, not random sounds, just it kind of just continued the...
Yeah, it just made the song longer.
Yeah.
Well, that's about all I can say. You know, we weren't lovers of this song, but the next one, The Lovers, who knows?
The Lovers. Did you love this song?
I didn't. Okay, I'm one of those people who can understand when an album is not meant for me, and I can just say in advance, this isn't really made for me. But that being said, this song was really weird, and I'm sure someone loves this song.
So I'm gonna let you in on something surprising. I actually really like this song.
You like this song?
I liked it. It felt very creepy sci-fi, and it like, to me, this song perfectly is like, would fit like a runway show.
Oh, absolutely.
Like a fashion show.
Because, well, like I said, the main riff, I guess, in the verse is sort of thing. Sorry, I was just doing Immigrant Song as like a techno beat. But yeah, it's this very sort of sort of,
which I thought
I called it spacey and bloopy.
But it was in a creepy way. I don't know, to me, I liked it felt kind of lightheartedly ominous.
I don't know if that's a thing.
And I don't know, I could just like lay back and close my eyes and
sink into it.
Let it wash over me.
So this song has like really muted like synthy drums and like the vocal is like a whispering, I don't know, some sort of like rant in the verse, and it's just...
And then when he finally starts singing, I kind of like it. Like, usually I don't like such muted vocals, but it was very ethereal.
Well, it's interesting, because I thought he goes into this high note at the end, and trails off with that high note that's really not good for Trent Reznor's voice.
No.
And I know that he does weird stuff with his voice.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's not afraid to sound not good.
Which he definitely does later, and we'll get to it. But, I think that high note's a little weird for him, but I'm 100% certain he's doing it on purpose, because of the kind of artist he is. Yeah. But really, I think the only part of this song that I liked was the fact that there's an actual piano in it. Mm-hmm.
And I liked how the piano was in contrast to the little bloopy dudes. because I feel like the loopy-doos were kind of like creepy, but then the piano was very straightforward.
Yeah,
and like
just chordal, nice, filling the sonic space, and it was very something where I'm a very sort of standard music liking person. I'm not as into the sort of industrial and experimentally more outwardsy stuff, and so for me that was a nice foothold to understand, because I feel, normally we would talk about how much, we love like guitars and shredding and solos, but I feel like when we're talking about this album, it really isn't the place.
Okay, this isn't the place.
This is definitely a place I'd like to be, actually.
Really?
This song is what I would call abstract blues.
All right. It did have, so it's in the 3/4 time kind of swingy.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's got these sort of like this piano doing this sort of like not quite in time, not quite out of time, sort of like said, blues, pentatonic-y sort of thing going on. And like the drums are really groovy. The bass, it's a synth bass, I believe, is really just sort of and it's just, for me, it was really groovy. And you could just, this is my version of you could close your eyes and float away.
I can definitely see that for this song also. And it captured the same, like, there's a slight creepiness, but this song had like a foothold in the groove.
Oh yeah,
like how you said the piano was the foothold in the previous song. This song, the foothold was that 3/4 time.
Very standard musical style. This is, like I said, very much. Yeah. But then I said my problems with this. I like a lot of it, but the synth strings and this sort of like reverby O starts filling up the sonic space over time. It becomes louder and louder and louder and louder, and it becomes kind of obnoxious, and then it completely disappears again, and then it comes back, and again. And it's really obnoxious to me.
And then when the, like, about 2 minutes in, 2.5 minutes in, the, like, when the vocals come in, they're just very over nothing and very weak and wimpy. And that was intentional. Like, I don't think I don't think this guy knows how to sing strongly. Like,
I mean, The Hand That Feeds, when we sang earlier, he sang that.
It just feels like he's often very reserved with his singing.
Well, I think about the singing, and this is kind of like the singing in, like I said, like Hurt, where it's sort of like, it's very sort of, he's
weak,
mumbling.
But,
like,
intentionally
weak.
Oh,
artistically weak. Yeah. Absolutely. But I would say eventually, like, the singing, I don't like it very much. Like I said, for me, it's the worst part. Yeah. But I know he's doing that for an artistic reason, but eventually it just drifts into an unintelligible, reverby nothing. And I'm like, what? There was lyrics, and I was trying to understand the song. And then it just ends. It just ends right out of nowhere. It ends
so abruptly, yeah.
And you're just like...
all of these songs, except the last song, they all kind of end abruptly.
Well, I mean, I was enjoying the song, but then it said to me, not anymore. Not anymore. Is this a song you wanted to continue, or not anymore?
I don't know. It was okay, I think. It was kind of heavier than the rest of the songs.
You definitely had a lot more sonically noisy going on here.
Yeah. So it wasn't this trebly boop 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 boop.
Yeah, this definitely has some like fuzzy guitar. This one also, I believe, has guitar in it.
Maybe.
And some real drums with like an effect on them. So this is the shortest song on the album. I mean, everything will be shorter than the last song because the last song is ridiculous, but we'll get to it. But so this song it has this weird sort of like cartoony squeaks where it goes it just has these weird sort of cartoony squeaks in the verse that to me just kind of like don't fit musically, but
I guess they didn't really stick out so much to me.
Really, because they are all I could focus on.
Verse riff to me was just it had more aggressiveness than previous songs, and I kind of liked that.
I guess for me, it's just not my style, because it's kind of art rockish, kind of experimentally sounding, and for me it was kind of unpleasant on the ear because of those weird squeakinesses. Yeah.
And the vocals, I feel like they're normal vocals for Nine Inch Nails, I guess, that kind of echoey, far back, like you're standing in a big empty warehouse, which makes sense for industrial music, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah, because that's where it's all being made.
But I just personally don't like that vocal tone.
Yeah, but the good thing about this is about a minute in, the chorus kicks in, and it's got, like I said, it's got like a fast sort of drum beat, it's got guitars, it's still very crunchy, fuzzy, distorted sounding.
Yeah. And it's very short.
Yeah, and it ends abruptly. Once again, this is another track on the album where the chorus just is like... Yeah,
harsh. Harsh transition.
Harsh transitions. And for me, the gear shifts are so hard that it was like physically unpleasant. And that will definitely come up in the last song, is physically unpleasant gear shifting during the song. And I know that's exactly what he's going for when he makes it. So it's hard to criticize the fact that I really don't like that with the fact that that's the point.
It's hard. Well, we'll get to this and talk about the whole thing, but it's hard to dislike when you know the person achieved what they're going for.
Yeah. So I'm proud of Trent Reznor for doing what he wants to do, I guess. And also, what's his name? Atticus Cross? Yeah, they were working together. Yeah, so they made this album really... But,
yeah.
And what further, like I said, the gear shifts that really bothered me again is this song ends in the middle of the verse.
In the middle of the word up.
Yeah, it's just...
I think it goes up.
And it just cuts off. And it starts the next song. I'm like, I know you're doing it on purpose, but it really frustrates me. And I know that's, Trent Reznor's thing is being a sort of like sassy, angsty dude.
Frustrating.
And sassy, angsty dude. But for me, this song has, like I said, the chorus, I really like this chorus. I would take this chorus and put it in like a more rockin' song. And for me, that's why this song kind of like, it's the shortest song because it has so many abrupt, non-fluid transitions.
Yeah. But I think that added to, like, I think this is the most harshest
this song has the most tension on it in the whole album.
Yeah, and I think maybe those abrupt shifts really promoted that tension, and it went together in a way.
Well, yeah, like this song definitely does not fade into the background of this album. But this next song, The Background World, I wish it would fade away. The Background World.
So this song clocks in at 11 minutes and 44 seconds.
Yeah.
Of unnecessary bullshit.
There's 4 minutes of song in this.
Yeah. So let's talk about the 4 minutes of song.
Yeah, the song has 2 sections.
Yeah. So I though it might be a little cliche, I like the first lyric. You left me here. What am I supposed to do?
That's how I feel when I'm listening to this album.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But also just, I don't know, for some reason that lyric struck me as just, like, honest.
No, I mean, that's kind of like his kind of music. It's the sort of modern industrial feel. But I said, my problem with this is that it's a simple 4/4 kick beat on a synth drum. It's just boom, 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 boom. It's really, like, kind of boring.
And then it's got these synth sounds that just occurred to me kind of sound like farts.
They're very much sort of like... And there's these like weird ghosty ambient sounds like sort of like ghost chorus happening, filling up the space, and there's this ambient spacey synth. And then about 1 minute 30 seconds in, suddenly there's like strings. Like
it kind of like stops, and then there's some string business.
Orchestral strings, and then there's these weird muted vocals that are like him and maybe a woman singing.
Maybe
it's really this really high vocal and a low vocal going over each other, but they're really like muted and fuzzed out, so you can't understand what they're saying anyway. But then he goes back to singing only afterwards. But it's this really sort of strange artistic thing that I don't understand. And then the song just stops.
Well, you forget this middle section where he's asking, "Are you sure?" "Are you sure?" Blah blah blah.
You want to continue listening to this song?
That's kind of what it's asking. It's, "Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure?" And then it stops.
Yeah, and then it comes in with this like, or something like that.
Yeah, it's this kind of shortish, like progression of sound that starts over like halfway through a beat, so it has that feeling of a record skipping or like the song starting over again halfway through.
Yeah, we were convinced that it was the first couple times.
Yeah, the first couple times it happened, I'm like, did this mess up somehow? Which is probably the feeling that was intended. But this probably 8-ish second phrase of music that does that skipping thing and repeats, that phrase repeats for the next 8 minutes.
Yeah, from about 4 minutes to the 11:44.
And what I like about it is that it starts out clear, and then each time it degenerates a little more. So it sounds like you're listening to like a cassette tape over and over and over again, that's skipping until it destroys itself. Which I like the concept of that.
Yeah, it definitely.
I appreciate the concept, but in reality, it's not pleasant.
Well, yeah, and also I hate the idea that there's this big full-sized vinyl for this EP, and a majority of this outside edge is a progressively degrading sound of the riff before it for 8 minutes.
Yeah, well, which is, like I said, I like the concept of this, where it's like, a skipping, degrading musical statement that degrades over time, but it just... while the idea is cool, it gets old after like a minute of it.
Because we listened to the whole thing because we're like, well, maybe it'll change, maybe it'll be a progression, maybe at the end he'll say like, haha, I got you to listen to this whole thing. But it just ends, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Well, all right then.
And about after like a minute or so, I'm like, man, this sounds like it's going to be the end of the song. Like, what could happen after this?
And it goes on for another 7 minutes.
Yeah. So it's a little taxing to listen to.
Yes, I would say.
And by a little taxing, I mean very unpleasant.
Yeah, so most people will turn it off before that's done. So that being said, I think we can probably both agree what the best song on this album is.
Can we?
No, we can't. I think it was less than the first single because it was just easy to understand. It had guitar riffs. It had a normal strong song structure. Yeah. People will find it enjoyable. People who like old school Nine Inch Nails will like it. People who like regular rock music will like it. And I certainly liked it for those reasons. Yeah,
to me, the like digestible of it makes it blend into the background a little bit. Like whenever I hear it on the radio, I'm just kind of like, this song. Okay. So I'm going to actually say that my favorite song was The Lovers.
I do not agree with you.
Just because that one evoked the most emotion in me for some reason.
Okay.
I'm not really sure. I'm honestly not sure why I like that song.
Well, I mean, you're wrong either. No, it's a good song, and I understand why you like it. It's very unique. But I would say the worst song, besides being the last half of the background world, I thought the worst song, honestly, was just because of the weird potential and the way it worked out was Not Anymore, or the beginning, or the end half of the background world. Just the background world annoyed me with how it was set up. So what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to have to say the background world just because it was so unnecessarily long. And the first 4 minutes weren't like, exceptionally great to make up for that. Mm-hmm. Like, they didn't... Like, the first 4 minutes were a little time-wasty, too, in my opinion. Like, with the repeat of that, Are You Sure?
Yes, business. Absolutely. So I think we can both say, did this convince us that we really want to listen to more Nine Inch Nails?
Not really.
No. That being said, I don't think this album is for me.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it's for me either. Though I kind of liked some of it.
And yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, there's stuff to like, but I just didn't like it very much. I'm not gonna go ahead and listen to that 30p unless we end up reviewing it.
Yeah.
And just frankly, I'm not gonna go and listen to more Nine Inch Nails. I mean, I will because I want to get more knowledgeable of his music, but this wouldn't inspire me, and I wouldn't recommend this to anyone else.
Yeah, granted that might just be because I don't know anyone who is into this kind of music.
Well, our one friend who listens to Nine Inch Nails told me he didn't like this because Trent Reznor needs to bring his guitars back.
Yeah, so I would agree with that statement that it could be aided by some guitars. And it's a little ambient and artful.
Yeah, it's a little artsy for me, and that's basically all I can say about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's a critic, including us. So, bye-bye.